Okay, so I'm pretty sure everybody's heard about the banking problems. What is it? Silicon Valley Bank. And then there's a second one. Anyway, I'll pop in this video of Joe Biden talking about it.
Before I leave for California, I want to briefly speak about what's happening in Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. Today, thanks to the quick action of my administration over the past few days, Americans can have confidence that the banking system is safe. Your deposits will be there when you need them. Small businesses across the country, the deposit accounts at these banks can breathe easier knowing they'll be able to pay their workers and pay their bills. And their hardworking employees can breathe easier as well. Last week, when we learned of the problems of the banks and the impact they could have on jobs of small businesses and banking system overall, I instructed my team to act quickly to protect these interests. They've done that. They've done that. On Friday, the government regulator in charge, the FDIC, took control of Silicon Valley Bank's assets. And over the weekend, it took control of Signature Bank's assets. Treasury Secretary Yellen and a team of banking regulators have taken action.
So first off, with him touching his nose like that, I find that kind of gross. Second, whenever the government says they're taking over assets, that sounds like socialism to me.
Immediate action. And here are the highlights. First, all customers who had deposits in these banks can rest assured, rest assured they'll be protected and they'll have access to their money as of today. That includes small businesses across the country that bank there and need to make payroll, pay their bills, and stay open for business. No losses will, and this is an important point, no losses will be borne by the taxpayers. Let me repeat that. No losses will be borne by the taxpayers. Instead, the money will come from the fees that banks pay into the Deposit Insurance Fund. Because of the actions of that.
So the taxpayer's not paying for any of it. It'll be the banks that pay into the Deposit Security Fund. But where do the banks get their money from?
Because of the actions that our regulators have already taken, every American should feel confident that their deposits will be there if and when they need them. Second, the management of these banks will be fired. If the bank is taken over by FDIC, the people running the bank should not work there anymore. Third, investors in the banks will not be protected. They knowingly took a risk, and when the risk didn't pay off, investors lose their money. That's how capitalism works.
Okay, so the management of these banks will be fired. That sounds good, but do they have a golden parachute? Or is that taken away from them, is my question. So, what happened? How did SVB get in the situation they're in? Well, I found two articles that might shed some light on that. Silicon Valley Bank pledged nearly $74 million to Black Lives Matter causes. Talk about a black hole / scam. SVB is committed to creating a more diverse, equitable, inclusive, and accessible environment within SVB, within the innovation ecosystem, and in our communities. At the heart of this commitment is our effort to foster a more inclusive culture and increase racial, ethnic, and gender representation. Diversity hires. Go woke, go broke. In the broader innovation economy, we are focused on breaking down systemic barriers to entry and success. So they went woke. Anyway, for me as a Canadian, do I have to worry about it? Well, SVB fallout is not a Canadian crisis. Should not impact Bank of Canada, says BNN Bloomberg. Yeah, I don't think I'll trust a Bloomberg article. And why? Two reasons. Well, three. The first, obviously, Bloomberg's part of the establishment. Second, the banking system, it's all connected, much like the economy. So if one starts to fail, they all fail. Link in a chain metaphor comes to mind. Second, the wokeness that infected the SVB bank infects the Canadian banking system too. Just differing degrees, I suppose. So, as a Canadian, what did I do? Well, as soon as this stuff started to happen, I went to my bank and withdrew the majority of my money. I mean, yeah, it's just pennies and peanuts, but I'm just playing it safe. Alright, that's it for my little ramble. Take care.